Oh my God. They found me. I don't know how, but they found me. Run for it, Marty!
Hey YouTube, how's it going? Got some friends on here tonight. Everybody say hello to the Binion family, BJ and Christy, some members from my church, and Randy Pedigo. Both of these men have flown a little bit of drones with me in the past. So we had a few other people on here wanting to chime in. I lost my bench camera. I gotta get it back. Give me just a second. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. All right. Good. Good. It's in my stream room. Everything's got to mess up. There we go. Get this pinch camera in there. Will, come on, Marty. Bear with me. I had it all set up, and you know how that goes. Then right at the last minute. There we go. I heard it go bloop. Which means, there we go. And, well, maybe this way. There we go. That's good enough. Good enough. All right. So my voice matching up with the audio and the video.
Yeah. Yes.
Right. Cool. All right. Let me go back in here and chat. Make sure McFlies is here. Kenneth Brown's here. Says howdy. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well, Kenny. Hope everybody's getting over this mess, this junk that's going around. It's just seems like it's kind of lagging and on and on. You're still feeling that down with it, aren't you, BJ?
Yeah, I'm still.
He started with it again, so I don't there.
Don't be kissing on him.
Too late.
Well, I'm quarantined and hello, Fat Caster. All right.
He started with the ear infection really bad, and now he's got all this crud in his head. So
Yeah.
hopefully that's just a sign of loosening up.
Yeah, I think Kenny said he had to jump for like, what, 2 months?
Yeah.
What was bothering him? So, yeah.
The way we are going on what, week 9 now?
Week 7.
Week 7.
I'm glad I picked it up. Of course, I'm on lockdown. I tell you, all this is backwards. This is what I picked up at the gun show the other day. That and right back there. It says on air. Had those people make it for me. Mid-South Laser Engraving was the company. So, yeah, they did a pretty good job, I think. So, well, tonight, it's, as always, my live streams are open to friends and subscribers to come in and talk drones or talk family, talk anything but bad about me. So
See you later.
you would think, Pop and Shop, I'm new here. This is a group local to Nashville, Tennessee. Yes, we are. From Music City Multi-Rotor. Yes. Hey, man. Come fly with us sometime. We'd love to have you. Excursion. I don't know why I think it's because you're in France. It keeps making me approve any of your comments. So, yeah, we've got the chats blowing up. People from France and Middle Tennessee and almost in Kentucky, twice removed, and got Scott. He's on here. I don't know if he's watching online or he popped in on the. I will be doing some droning live excursion, but yeah, Scott popped in. I think he was just wanting to listen, so we kind of got him muted right now. So if you got questions about drones or just questions, just ask them there in the chat, and we'll get to them. One of the things that I'm wanting to do is after the holidays is set up a. You want to see me do some droning? Okay. Well, might be something later tonight with this right here. I'm doing a review. This was sent to me by Banggood, and this is actually a little screen that you can watch my HD0 feeds from, and I had some trouble with it, and they wanted me to send it back and not do the review, but that ain't gonna happen. So yeah, it's about whoops and micros. Also coming up here in Middle Tennessee, if you subscribe to my channel, there's a poll that I put. Evan Turner, the 2-time DRL champion and 4 or 5-time national multi-GP champion, he designed the tiny trainers. He had a tiny trainer race, I think it was Saturday before last, it might even been last Saturday, at a church in Kingston. And now this is Evan. He normally has 30 something pilots, and I went back and looked at the multi-GP and he had 6. So on the poll that I've got on my page, it asked the question, if a drone race in a church would stop you from coming. I think that's the case. That what Evan found is that there's just some people, for whatever reason, that for their own reasons, that feel uncomfortable about it. We've had some drone races and stuff, and we've had some people turn out, but it seems like a lot of people from the Middle Tennessee area and Soki, which I'm I guess the leader of that Southern Kentucky multi-GP multi-rotor, don't like sorry, I go, you are too slow. I talk too slow. That's because we're from Tennessee, from the South. But anyway, Evan he's one of the world's best pilots, and I noticed with him that he only had 6 people show up to his race, and the next race he's scheduled in, I think, the 12th of December. He's already got, I think it's 40 something pilots, but it's not at a church. So go in there and answer that poll. It doesn't tell me who says what. It just tells me how many people answered it. It doesn't even tell me which people answered the poll. It's just something I'd like to know as a pastor. Most of you, if you don't know, if you're not familiar with my channel, I do pastor a little church in Kentucky, and we have LED whoop races sometimes inside there, and we've got some property across the street that we've talked about having some summertime races on, and it just seems like that a lot of people, just for whatever reason, don't want to come. So let me know in that, and I don't understand it. I mean, I would go to a Catholic church, or even a bar to do a tiny whoop race. It doesn't mean that I have to do everything that they do there. So, but yeah, I'd like to get your thoughts on that. Those of you watching, and those of you going to be watching later. But one of the other things that I talked about doing this winter is Whoop Mass. It's a play on Mass from church. That's where Christmas Mass is a service, a Catholic service. I'm not Catholic, but Whoop Mass is where I'll set up some gates, some cube gates and some LED gates and things like that at church, and fly through that live, like what you were asking, Pop. I will be doing that. I do have, like I said, I have the sky view, which I could put a GoPro in front of this, and just like I've got this other camera, you can see down here at the bottom. You can see my hand waving on it. That's the bench cam. If I turn that banner off, I could put a GoPro on this, or a camera on this, and you could film it. But I also have the HD0 Event VRX, which I can hook into a TV, and that's probably what I'll do if I end up doing that, end up going that route. That's probably what I'll do. So yeah, if that's what you're wanting to see, that's something I've got in the pipe. It's not something I'm probably going to do tonight. I may fly this, which is the Mobula 7 HD0, and I could lay the I don't know why it keeps dropping out. Yeah, I got to figure that out. My other camera keeps dropping out, but I could take the other camera and put it facing this, and you can see what I'm flying. But it's only going to be in this room. Here at my home, I have a handicapped daughter, and she doesn't like the squeal of the way that these tiny whoops sound, and I'm not gonna aggravate her over a live stream. So yeah, but we'll do that maybe some other time, and get some people to come in. And another thing that I'm looking at doing, let me get back over here at the chat. Another thing that if you need to email me, my email is right down here. This is my it's not my personal email, but this is my my droning email. If you want to email me, send me some merchandise, some HD merchandise to review. That's how you get in touch with me, right there. Let me get back in here and chat, make sure. Nope, still got excursion left because I talk too slow. Well, he don't want to see me when I'm having a kidney stone. So, yeah. Thank y'all for coming out and showing up tonight. BJ and both BJ and Randy have shown some interest in drones, and I've I've tried to teach them and getting some things figured out on how to. Actually, I'm using Emax. Those of you guys that are watching, got. Matter of fact, let me see here. One second. Yeah, I think this is it. Right here. I'm at 190 subscribers, which is pretty good for my little channel. These are the indoor tiny whoops that we fly through the whoop races. This is an analog hummingbird. And when I get to 200 subscribers, which I was last week, I was at 180, so it's going up pretty quick. When I get to 200 subscribers on this channel, you'll see not this very drone, but one very similar to it that I'm going to give it away. All you got to do is like, comment, and subscribe to do that. But one of the things that I'm doing that's already on this one, and I'm in the process of putting it on the one that I'm giving away, is going to set up 3 profiles: a beginner profile, a intermediate profile, and then a race profile. And the intermediate or the beginner profile will fly like the Emax, those cheap ones that you can get from Amazon that they kind of fly on their own. But it's got a much better VTX and a much better camera on it, and it will help get you to where you can fly races. This one right here will do it all, except for good freestyle. But by the time you get to that, you'll be buying your own stuff. So yeah, stay tuned. We're not far from that. And like I said, when I get to 200 subscribers, we will do that, and I'll give that away. And after the holidays, after Christmas, we're going to set up at church and do some LED whoop races. So if you're in the Middle Tennessee area, it's Pop's shop. Message me, Pops. You can see my email there. Message me I'm looking for a good drone pilot or a good airplane pilot, because I want to fly this airplane or have someone who is a good airplane pilot fly it while I chase it with my HD drones and video it. So yeah, get with me. There's used to be quite a bit of pilots around here. Nashville used to be one of the biggest multi-GP chapters in the area, and it's just pretty much died off around COVID. We were having races before COVID that were we'd have 15, 20 people in a race, and now we do good to have 4. It's okay. I do walks now. Meteor 75. Yes, I seen. Excutioner says that it's a little bit of a language barrier. I guess it's okay. I do walks now. Drone, Beta FPV, Meteor 75. Do I know this whoop? Yes, I haven't flown it. I have the OG. Look at the dust on this. I have the OG one back from the day that this is analog. But yeah, you're talking about the walk snail digital version of that. Nick Burns did a video on it. They've also come out with a Meteor 85, an 85 millimeter. When you hear me say 65 millimeter or 75 millimeter, that's the distance from the motor post diagonal to the other motor post. This is what's called a 75 millimeter. What I had out here before was a 65 millimeter. Some drone races, you can see the difference in the size of them. Some drone races are only 65 millimeter and don't don't allow 75 millimeter. But what that one I showed you there is an 85 millimeter or 2-inch, and this one here is a 3-inch. So you see the difference in the size of the props. It's considerable. And this is a tiny trainer, and you don't fly this indoors, at least you shouldn't, unless you want to cut an ear off. And here's a 2-inch version of an outside. This is a peanut quad. So yeah, yes, I do know about that. Nick Burns has a good review on that on his channel. He compares it to the Mobula 7 walk snail. I do have the walk snail module coming. It's supposed to be sent to me by Defiance RC, but I thought they said they were supposed to release that by yesterday. So I haven't seen anything. I'm also Scott. Okay. Can't figure out. Okay, I see you. Okay. Now, Scott, are you the Scott from that I fly with in Gallatin? Because there's a Scott. I don't think it's Jay. I fly with it at Triple Creek Park with a guy named Scott. I think my cam and mic are working. Well, I've got you. Your microphone was working, but I've got you muted. If you would like to join in, let me know in the chat, and all I got to do is he says no, you live in Scott. All I have to do is turn you back on, and it'll show just your name, but you can chat in here with us without having to type all the time. I would. You're welcome to do that. You don't have to. And Randy, BJ, if y'all ever want to show up when you come in, if you don't allow camera, but just allow audio, you'll show up just as a little gray box. But you can talk, and you can interact with us. So yeah, just let me know, Scott, if you do want to jump in live. All I got to do is push a few buttons, and it'll get you in live. I say that, but I can't seem to keep my camera here. I'm just going to give up on that one for right now. My other camera, what I use is just a cheap iPhone SE. I got it off of eBay for $15, and I got this one. This is what we'll use for the extra cameras at the race. So you'll be able to see the screen, and also see me. The people from my church is like, I'm not used to Marty not having a lot of words to say. I'm fine either way myself. My son and my grandson were just interested places. Yeah. Let me turn your audio on, Scott. And on your end, if anybody on your end, all you got to do is hit disconnect, and there you go. I think you're live now.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you. So you got your son and your grandson that like to fly?
Well, yeah. I used to fly FPV back a few years back when it was kind of a new thing. When open flight was new, multi-rotors were new. Yeah. I'm old school.
Oh, me too.
I'm old school, and I'm still a really bad pilot. And I've flown airplanes a little bit, small ones, park flyers. My neighbor has a lot of property. We flew over there, so I never did anything.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't want to
Ultra micro?
breaking any law. Not well. I mean, they were pretty big. They were like 700 millimeter wingspan or something.
Right.
So I flew those at my neighbor's property, and then I got out of it. And then my grandson started showing interest in it here a while back. So we got some little. As a matter of fact, you mentioned those little Emax that you can fly indoors.
Right.
And we were taking them outside because our house isn't big enough for three of us to be flying at one time.
Right.
So we were flying in the backyard, and he eventually flew his so hard that it's no longer with us. So for Christmas, he doesn't know it, but he's gonna graduate up to a Mobula 7 and a new radio, and maybe some new goggles for his birthday. But we were just looking for a group to fly with, and we joined that Facebook group. And then I saw exactly. Except this is great. And I saw your link for a live stream, and I thought I would watch it. Yeah. I didn't realize I'd be joining it, but I'm happy to. I don't know anything or have much to share, but
well, hey, that's what this is for. It's to reach out. One of the things that I love most about this hobby is, and I'm like you, my oldest she'll be 26 here soon, and my wife was pregnant with her when I started flying 40 size nitro airplanes with my brother. Several years ago, I got a traumatic brain injury, and I lost the ability to fly line of sight. And a friend of mine recommended FPV, and oh my goodness, it fixed everything, because left is always left and right is always right in the goggles. And but yeah, I'd like to meet up with you sometime and fly. As you can see, I tell the people in my church and all around me, I have a case of the can't help it. I can't help it. I don't like to halfway do anything. So I have 5 of the HD0 HD quads. 2 were given to me for review, and 1 was sold at 60% of retail. So that's good. But yeah, man, come and you can ask BJ. He's the guy up there on the top with the name Christie. I'll let you fly my stuff. You can bounce it off the wall until it won't fly anymore.
Well, we will. He'll let you keep flying.
I've got stuff to fly. Like I said, I'm trying to not confess that I was flying my airplanes without ever taking those model airplane flying courses. I learned to fly a quadcopter. I don't like the D word. I don't like drone.
Yeah.
I learned to fly it first. And then I got the itch to want to learn to fly an airplane. So I should not confess this, but I literally went to a hobby shop in Smyrna and bought whatever kit I could get for like $99, which was like a little Cessna or something with a radio in the box.
Right.
And just literally kept hitting the throttle and pulling back on the stick until it left the ground. And once it was in the ground, I had it under control because I could kind of fly it like a quad. It was the ugliest thing in the world, but I could kind of fly it like a quad.
Yeah.
And then my son found the test flight guys, or flight test guys.
Yes.
On YouTube.
Oh, love them.
And before you know it, I had like 30 airplanes, and I don't know how many race quads I had. Then I got into the. You've been doing it long enough. If I said the what was his name, Benedict maybe.
Yes.
The German guy that lived in Australia that sold micromotors. The Alien Brain.
Yes.
Micromotor Warehouse. Yeah, the Alien Brain boards. I got my hands on 2 of those Alien Brains, and that was it. Micros were my thing.
Yeah.
The brushed ones. And then, like I said earlier, I stepped away from it, work, life, grandkids, and all. And then there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
One of the founding members of Edgewater Park. So,
no kidding.
Yeah. Yep. Josh Bixler is an excellent dude. I would love to do. I have aspirations to do lots more than what I do. I would love if your children and your grandkids want to learn how to fly. I would love to try to teach them. I've got plenty of quads, and we've got the space, indoors and outdoors.
Where do y'all fly at?
I fly to my yard. If you,
Well, I mean, that's
yeah. Go ahead.
That's what we do. But we were just they're like we were thinking there's got to be other folks. There's got to be there's too much of this stuff sold. There's got to be somebody near us. And then he found that group on Facebook, and then here I am talking to people I've never met before.
Yeah, I liken the I don't know if you caught it early when I was talking about Evan Turner's race and people not showing up. I'm assuming because it was at a church. I liken the FPV hobby a lot like skateboarding. There's vastly different factions in it, and there's some that if you've been in it and you watched any Bardwell or stuff, there's people that just don't like Josh Bixler at all. Josh Bixler,
I think he's awesome.
Yeah. I have had a brain fart, but yeah, because he's too nice. And I've had people tell me that they would come to more of my tiny group races because I have infinity tunnels and LED lights. I mean, I've got it all. And I've had people tell me that they would come to more of my races if I didn't have my church. And I'm like, well, man, I'm not gonna hold you down and make you confess Jesus. Just like when I go to a race in Nashville, if there's guys standing over under a tree smoking some weed, that don't mean I got to go over there and do that. And so that's kind of my whole take. And I have a video on my page, and it's the I guess the opening video or the commercial video to my page, and it's what if. And it's all about what if we focused on the things that we have in common in America instead of the things that we have against each other. And that's what I focus on in drones. Some of my best friends in drones are atheists, and we don't agree at all on politics and things that the world says that you have to hate each other if you don't agree with. So that's what I'm all about. And I fly there because it doesn't cost me anything. The field across.
Yeah, that's the best part. Yeah.
Yeah. I was just talking with Growl. You might, if you're on the Middle Tennessee YouTube or whatever, the Facebook group, you might know him. He was a drone runner. I don't know if he's doing it this year or not. He was a drone runner on DRL, and we've raced a couple. He actually bought one of my tiny trainers from me. We've raced a few times, and I was talking with him tonight about trying to find a venue somewhere in the Nashville area to do some indoor tiny whoop racing, because it looks like that a lot more people would be interested in it if I didn't do it at church, So, and I'm all right with that. I don't have to do it there. It's just
kind of true, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, there's some people that. Now I have to tell you, if somebody was like, we're having a tiny group race at the Satanic Church, I'm gonna pass that one up, but that's just me,
Where is your church?
It's in Kentucky. I live right up. You're in Clarksville. You know where Gallatin's at? Hendersonville.
I'm sorry, you broke up a little bit. Oh, it's in Hendersonville?
No. I said, do you know where Hendersonville is?
I do know where Hendersonville is.
I'm about 40 minutes north of that, Randy?
Probably.
Yeah, my house here, I live less than a mile from the Kentucky line, and the church that I pastor is just right across the Kentucky line in a little town called Adolphus, just south of Bowling Green.
Okay.
And so yeah, we get together and fly sometimes. I have a friend in Bethpage between here and Gallatin. He's got a farm, and we've flown some. His name's Philiblaster. We've flown some outdoor stuff out there at his house around his barn. So yeah, sub to me and or go to that. Let's see if I can put it back up here again. That email address and email me your information, and we'll get together and set up some time or something. And are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
One of us is having connectivity issues, though.
Is mine dropping out, Randy?
I can hear you good.
Okay.
I can hear you fine. I think it might be on my end. It got stuttery for a second. It seems to be okay now.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so you can do that, Fat Pastor at fpv@gmail.com, and you can message me, and we can work out a time or something. Now, I'm in quarantine. I'm not sick or incognito. Look at that. I wouldn't let him show up with me on camera, BJ.
Well, he's got his son with him, so I kind of let him.
Oh, he's bribing you with the grandson, isn't he?
Yeah.
His head's shinier than yours.
He uses more turtle wax.
He does. Cause he's a new cue ball.
Yeah, he's a new cue ball.
Yeah. Is TJ with you, Zach?
No.
So yeah, hit me up, Scott, and we'll get together and fly. What I'm saying is I'm quarantined until the 18th. I don't know if you heard it earlier, but I have a handicapped daughter. She has a suppressed immune system, so I have to quarantine if I'm going to spend some time with her at Christmas. So I'm in, and people at my church are taking over for me until after the 18th, or until the 18th. But I'm going to build this. I don't know if you've seen this. This was sent to me.
I have seen one of those before.
By Pyro.
In real life.
Yeah. I'm going to put HD0 on this, and it's a 65 millimeter, but it don't have it's a 75 millimeter, but it don't have the whoops on it. So I'm gonna build it here on the desk. It'll give me something to do. So yeah. I've got a lot of ultra micros. I don't know if I can adjust this camera a little bit. Let me see. Yeah. If you see those ultra micros hanging from the ceiling, I got a lot of those that I'll let you fly. I'll chase after you with a drone. Might cut the wings up with some props, but it'll be fun. Right? So,
I just spent a couple of days trying to put a ELRS receiver into a nanoHawk 1S that came to me as SPI.
Ooh.
Free Sky SPI. And I thought, well, it'll fly on an old Tyrannus.
Yeah.
The Plus, the 2019 the X9D Plus. And it wouldn't bind on 16. It would only bind on 8. And that one didn't do 8.
Hey, hang on one second. Bobby!
No, you're fine.
Hey, remind me about it. ELRS. Watch this. Look at you.
Hey, Bobby.
Hey.
Hey.
Hi.
Hey, Bobby. How are you? Look at you on YouTube like a big guy.
He's talking about who's talking to me.
No, that
Oh.
guy.
Oh.
Yeah. There you are. You're right there. Look at you.
On YouTube.
Look at you.
On YouTube.
Right there. You're right there.
He's playing a video.
Yeah, and by the way, his name's not Bobby. That's just what I call him. His name is Elias, but he knows that he knows that his pastor is broken in many ways, and so he just humors me. So I'm glad that you're listening in with us, Brent. Brent Nunley is a friend of mine from way back in the Law Squad days. So, but anyway, Express LRS. See there. Squirrel.
Oh yeah, we were putting I was putting the receiver in a little nanoHawk 1S.
Uh-huh.
So I'm excited to fly it. I haven't got to fly it yet.
So you
I
had it
got
available. You are.
I did. It was tricky figuring it out. It said in the description it had two, and on the flight controller, what you have is you don't have a second T. You have a T1. You have an R1 and an R2. So
I bet the video is on
T1
one.
and R2 turned on the second UART in beta flight, and that got it to.
You were able to get it to work by doing T1 and R2?
Worked just fine. Worked just fine. It responds to stick commands. It does everything. I don't think I would recommend that little quad to anybody. It's about the most frustrating thing in the world. I've never seen one. You have to take everything off of it to take anything off of it.
Yep. And Emax, the thing about Emax is great, especially for your first quads, but they're proprietary. They're motor plugs. Like this here, I bent a motor on this right before I went to the last video that I did, and I'm going to put the second one up where I'm gorilla whooping this in Gatlinburg, and with the Christmas lights. I bent a motor bell on this, and I ended up putting a RC and Power, that little blue and purple one, on there because they didn't have any more of the Happy Model ones, and they just plugged right up, and I was able to switch it back out. But Emax, you got to cut the connectors on them won't work, and like this motor here on just about any tiny whoop build, it's got plugs. This JST 125 plug is going to fit right in. That won't fit in a Tiny Hawk, and Tiny Hawk motors won't fit in a standard tiny whoop. At least they didn't used to. So yeah, I know I feel your pain, but man, do they come tuned well.
Yeah. Everybody's telling me when it flies, it's going to fly good.
Yeah, they do. You're not going to have to worry about all of that. Now, is it the Tiny Hawk one with the canopy, with the camera angle that's adjustable, or is it fixed?
It's fixed. Hang on just a second. Hang on just a second.
Okay. I can't believe Bobby come and got on TV. After we're done with this, I'll post this, and this will go on my channel. It's something that y'all can watch. Weston loves to go back and watch Uncle Marty TV is what he says. So, and if you are watching online, you'll probably see that I'm about 5 seconds delayed.
Is it on me or on you to turn my camera on?
It's on you. You have to share it. Let me make sure.
I warn you, I'm nothing to look at.
Well, hey, you'll fit right in. Just make sure you're clothed.
Oh, very much so. It's a rule around here.
Yeah. Because I ain't doing that again. No, I'm joking. I'm actually in my pajama pants. If I can get my leg up high enough. I don't think I can. Nope. Trust me. I'm in pajama pants. Superman pajama pants. So
I have no idea what to do to make this camera.
All right, if you go into it, you should see camera settings on it. Let me see.
What I'm looking at says my name, and then there's a GoPro emblem, which is odd.
Yeah.
My GoPro hasn't been plugged in this computer in like a week.
Well, what you do is you go into your settings, and it should have a list of cameras. It'll say camera under the settings or over to the right, and it could be like front camera or FaceTime camera or whatever it is. This is just my iPad Pro that I'm running off of here. You did something. You did something. I'm starting to see something. Getting there. Let me see. Add to stream. There you go. So you muted yourself now.
Okay.
Now you're unmuted.
There's that GoPro emblem.
And now you're back to GoPro. Yeah. Let me see if I can do it on this one here and show you.
I know. That's weird.
If you go in the StreamYard, it's probably easier if you're doing it on your phone instead of your computer. If you have a Android or an iPhone, it's usually easier for that. I don't see him anymore, but you guys hear him too?
Sit it there for just a little bit.
Yeah. So on it, when you boot up from your phone, before it asks you if you want to come in, it will tell you you got your audio settings, your camera settings, and just regular settings. And then you'll pick it, and then you'll scroll up and give yourself a name, and then it's just hit enter studio. All right. I can see video. That's me. That's me that I see. Hell, this live streaming stuff's not as easy as you'd think it would be. There's my bench camera. Are y'all hearing an echo, Randy?
Just thin, just a little bit.
Yeah, it comes and goes every once in a while.
Well, there was something there, and then it went away again.
Yeah, it's this connection here. You got to work on it later. That's that other camera. It's having issues. But yeah, if you're still watching, Scott, an easier way to do it is to just take your phone and go into YouTube, and you'll scroll up. You can see that link, the StreamYard link. And if you click that, it'll say share your microphone, audio, and then share camera. You do both of that, and there you are. I see you. Red shirt, about to make you live. There you are.
Hey, welcome.
Told you, wasn't much to see. Thank you. Okay, so this is the little thing.
Oh yeah, that's the yeah. I have heard that is one of the
nanoHawk.
The nanoHawk. Yeah, that is one of the best flying Emax 65 millimeters. I hear that thing will scream. But you've got it flying with a mixed UART.
I do.
Do you still have
I
OSD?
It, at least operating.
Do you still have OSD?
I'm sorry?
Do you still have on-screen display?
Partially. And I know that sounds odd. If I set it up in beta flight, it doesn't come up. If I do the on-screen menu and control it with my sticks, looking in my goggles, I've got my battery voltage and the battery warning to go ahead and land to come on. I tried to tune launch mode into it, and that just made it scoot across the floor like a hovercraft, standing
Yeah.
on its nose. It just flew around. It just shot across the house, standing on its nose.
What
We
I
don't
would,
know it's because of the floor.
yeah, well, for one
Go
with
ahead.
that, you got to need to be on carpet or something sticky. I use in tiny whoop races, you can get them on Amazon, those little rubber jar gripper things. It's just a little rubber disc that people use to open jars. That's perfect for
Yeah, yeah.
But what you're experiencing there with your OSD is OSD's on one of those UARTs probably, and you can look at it in your Betaflight tab. Whatever smart audio is on, it'll tell you in Betaflight what, you know, in your ports tab, which one, it'll be out to the right, that which one is smart audio, and it'll tell you that's either UART 1 or UART 2, and whichever one that is, you're hijacking that UART with your receiver. So I would try to move off of that, and it'll tell you which one's available. And I would probably say that it's probably UART 1, and that there's probably an R2 pad somewhere, because I've got buddies that have taken that very quad and put Express ELRS, the EP2 with the, I think it's the EP2 with the ceramic antenna on it. So I know that it has the UARTs for it. They may not be near each other. Sometimes Emax will put a UART, a transmit on
I
one
know
side.
my receiver is on 2. I know my
Okay.
receiver is on 2 because that's how I finally got it to arm and communicate in Betaflight. Was I turned on UART 2?
But you have your
and
receiver,
then I had live.
But you have your receiver wired 5 volts ground, T1 and R2.
And R2, yes.
Okay, I would look for.
I wanted to make a video showing it.
Yeah.
A T2 is what I needed to find.
Yeah. Well, yes, and that's on that board somewhere. I'm going to try this next time when I do it. I'm going to try doing this from my Windows laptop, which I'm not really a Windows guy, but at least in Windows I can do multi screens, and I could actually pull up the pinout for that and show you and see where it's at. Let me see if I can do that on my phone real quick.
I just stared at it under a set of loops until I found kind of what I was looking for.
Right.
But it responds. I can arm it. I can hover it. I can fly it. I haven't done anything good with it, mostly because in grand Emax fashion, it's got these little, if you can see them, motors mount with 2 screws. And when you spin the motors up, it wants to shake the screws out. So,
yeah, and you got the.
And I'm really wasn't crazy about putting Loctite in on those. They're so small.
Well, and that if you get any of that Loctite on the plastic, it's going to eat the plastic.
Yes.
Up. So I would
exactly.
I don't put Loctite on tiny whoops. I just check them after a while and snug them down even more. Emax, nanoHawk.
This is the 1S. There's an X and a 1S. This is the 1S.
Let me do 1S.
It helps.
Pin.
Hang on.
Images. Oh, come on. Somebody. Oh, look here. Come on. Get big. Come on. It's on my phone. I don't want to get big. I can't see that. Well, let's look on it.
It works. I was kind of happy. I got it going. I just got to replace that screw before I can take it and fly it really hard. But I can't recommend it. You got to take the whole thing apart to do anything to it. You got to take all the motors off, pull the props.
Yeah.
Because it's all soldered together.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest downsides to Emax is that there's, I mean, they are user friendly, but man, they're a pain to work on.
Our first ones were the little Easy Pilots, not even the Easy Pilot Pro, just the Easy Pilot, and they flew great.
Oh yeah.
Which is why I think my little grandson is doing. I call him little, but he's got the makings of a good little pilot, and I credit it with how easy that little Easy Pilot was to fly. His confidence, he didn't get frustrated with it constantly flipping over.
Right. The Cetus, Beta FPV's got a Cetus that has a optical flow camera under the bottom of it, and it'll altitude hold. I'm not ignoring
that would be really nice.
Too.
No, you're fine. You're fine. You're doing way more than you honestly have to. This is still kind of a little bit, I don't know if surreal is the right word. It's like I'm just in a little live chat.
Yeah, we welcome anytime, man. Yeah.
I just texted my son and I'm like, hey, that live chat we were talking about, that live stream? I'm on it. He's like, I see that.
Tell him to join. Send him a link.
Oh, he's at work. He doesn't need to get busted.
Yeah. No. Nobody got time for that right now. I'm actually looking at the pinout and all right, let's see here. Okay, power. I think they're using the S-bus pin as okay. Does this look like your board? I'm gonna put it right up there.
From what I can tell, I would say yes. S-bus on this is kind of up at the. Look and see if the S-bus is kind of up at one of the cutouts for the mounts.
Yes.
Maybe near the video transmitter is piggybacked, stacked on top of it by the USB.
Yep.
Or the USB. It's not really integrated so much as it's a piggyback kind of deal. That was the hardest part about getting even that little tiny receiver in there.
Oh, come on, phone.
Did you find a T2?
R2 and T2 right there beside each other.
Right there beside each other. Darn sure not.
RX and TX. So that's not the same board.
All right. Yeah, let's see. Hopefully so.
Yep.
All right. I got to pull it back apart anyway to replace it. Well, I don't have to, but I'm going to. I'll see if I can get it done that way.
Yeah, because you'll want your OSD or you'll kill your batteries. So if we meet up sometime, I'll bring my soldering iron and I can fix it for you pretty quick.
Well, I can do it. I used to have a USB microscope and SMD soldering station, which made stuff like this very nice.
Oh yeah.
And I talk like I'm some type of electronics engineer. I'm not. I just would watch people do stuff on YouTube and go, I can do that.
Yeah.
And
I know what you mean.
And then I sold it all, and now I wish I had every bit of it back. It'd be out of date. I still fly on an old pair of Hobby King goggles. Hobby King Cyclops goggles. I still fly on a pair of those.
Worth its weight in gold.
Oh, there you go.
It's a digital microscope. It's dusty because I haven't used it in a while.
Yeah, but when you need it, that's the only thing in the world that'll do it.
Yeah, I use this mostly. I don't know if you can see it, but it's a
lighted magnifier.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I've got a set of
Phone film.
I have a set of Fat Shark goggles. I'm about to place on RC groups for sale with an HD0 module on it.
What do you think of that HD0?
I like it. Now, there's a lot of people that say it ain't any better than analog. It is. It is a lot better than analog. The thing is that there's some people flying it on. It's like if you watch a 4K or a Blu-ray. If you watch a Blu-ray on a crappy TV, it's not going to look good. And people are flying HD0 with Dominator V3 goggles and HD3 goggles, which they're HD, but the screen resolution is only like 600p. And HD0's 1080 by 720, and so you're not going to get an image that looks anywhere as good as what it's transmitting. And I have the HDO2s are my main flyers, and that the OLED screens on those are 720, and it's a lot better. But when you load it, even a lot of my videos, whenever you load them on YouTube dumbs them down. It degrades the whatever that is, diminishes the resolution.
Scales down the video.
Yeah. And so I have people say on some of my videos, well, that's what HD0 looks like. I don't want it. And that's not what it looks like. It looks a whole lot better. Whenever if you've flown analog, whenever you fly, if you can see blades of grass, I can with HD0. Now, it's not DJI, but I don't like DJI. Where I had my head injury, when I had seizures, and it would come from the outside in, and sometimes and I had double vision and blurry, and that's what DJI does when it breaks up. It doesn't sparkle, or it doesn't have static like analog. It just gets blurry, and the image will kind of blur, and I don't like that. HD0 when it breaks up.
You talking about the DJI FPV stuff?
Yeah, it does that right around the edges. If you'll watch people's stuff online, it gets real fisheye blurry. And I've tried some buddies of mine. The image is clear. It is because it's post-processing the video in the goggles again, so it increases the latency. And I like to race, and that's not good. HD0 doesn't do
latency is the enemy.
The latency of HD0 is right at what analog is, but it doesn't have the range of DJI, and it breaks up different. But with DJI, and you'll see it when I'm working on the edit. It's one of the things that's different about digital is when I do videos for analog, a 4-minute video, 5-minute video would be 500-600 megabytes, maybe 800 megabytes. And with HD video, it's 6 gig. So it takes so much more time to edit it. But what you'll see even on that, I did some range tests on it where I'm wearing the HD0 module with better antennas on it, and I'm running this screen. It's actually sitting on the hood of my Jeep, and I'm flying, and this completely loses signal when I've still got signal in my goggles. So I'm flying on, and I pop up and go up over the trees or over the pavilion, Randy, out there at church, and then the video comes back. If you get to the point in DJI, where you have complete video loss, it takes like a minute, sometimes longer, because it's got to reboot. Where, you know, if you've flown analog and you get like behind a bush or something and it gets real bad, if you can just bump your throttle and get up over that bush, and you got video again. You can do that with HD, where you can't do that with as easily with DJI. So that's why I like it.
The only DJI experience I've got is I've got the Mini SE. Which is not. I don't fly at FPV. I just need to put the tablet or put my phone, you know, in the mount and just look at that screen to fly it.
Right over here on the other side of that backpack, I have a set of goggles that will plug into the DJI drones, and you can fly them FPV, but the latency is so bad. If you're used to flying,
see, that's FPV, what I'm afraid of. I am, but I'm used to flying analog, and you know then I kind of feel like analog because I know. Yeah.
I don't recommend.
But when I lose video, of course, with the Mini, if I lose video, I don't freak out because it'll just go where it's supposed to go, and then it'll turn around and it'll come back. Yeah.
See that quad right there?
But it takes forever. The one right there. Your finger's on it from my point of view. Yeah.
That is a 6-inch, a 5-inch CL1 Betaflight, or not Betaflight, iNav. I have iNav loaded on that. That was the one that we flew out there that time with the airplane, Randy, that you can just take that quad and it flies. I can flip it and do full acro, power loops and all this kind of stuff, but I can also flip a switch and it'll hold just like DJI.
And it'll lock in.
And you know, the newest version of Betaflight, this one I can say return to home, and I've got it set to climb to 150 feet, and it'll go within 3 foot of where it took off, and it'll land. That's iNav.
Yeah.
iNav, iNav is a pain in the butt to get set up. Now I've heard it's gotten better, but the next version of Betaflight in the GPS Rescue will have landing, because GPS Rescue now in Betaflight is basically crash at the point of takeoff. Is what I call it. Not return to the point. It will return to the point of takeoff, but it comes in and 100 foot away it starts dropping, and it's going to come in, and within 20 foot of where it took off, it's going to clobber something. And the newer version,
fly into a tree or fly into the ground.
And the newer version of Beta, even without a barometer or a magnetometer, will come back to at a set altitude at where it thinks it was according to the GPS, which is plus or minus a meter. So it's within 3 feet.
Yeah.
And it'll slowly start to descend. And of course, it clicks in angle mode, stability mode, and it'll slowly start to descend until it hits the ground, and it'll shut the motors off. Now, the downside of that is if it comes down in a tree and it thinks the tree is the ground, it's going to shut the motors off. Or if it comes down on your car or your head, when it hits something that's just coming down, it's going to shut off. Power line. But it's still better than the existing.
Whatever's under it.
Yeah, the existing is. Now, I've used it before, and have it coming in at 150 feet, and when it gets within 100 feet of you, 100 yards, it starts dropping, and you better take back control of it or get out of its way, because it's coming in props hot.
See, when mine comes in on return to home, it stays at altitude until it's over its spot. It doesn't fly in.
Yeah,
on an approach, it flies over you.
Yeah.
But that's the thing with it. If you fly out so far you lose your video, it'll come almost all the way back before you get it back. Like, you might get it back once it's within 500 feet of you.
Yeah.
So once you lose the video on that Mini, it's gone until it's almost home. You just got to trust that it's going to come back.
that's how this iNav is right here. It handles just like a DJI, to the point that I can take it a mile away because it has a 1 watt VTX, which I have a ham license, so I can run that. And I can turn my radio off. If I'm like in I could do it in my backyard, but I wouldn't. But if I was at the lot at church, I could turn my radio off with the quad a mile away, go inside the church, and come back in 10 minutes, and the quad would be landed within 3 foot of where I took it off. Now the battery would still be on, still be running the VTX and all of that, but it doesn't say to fly. It goes up just like DJI does, turns to the same heading, flies back, and then uses the barometer and the magnetometer to bring it back down, and it'll sit right down on the ground. That might bounce a few times, like boom, 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 before it turns off, but it does that. But that right there was 3 days, 3 full days of setting up and testing and getting it right and all of that. It was a lot. And that the iNavs and one racer is the only quads I've got above 4 inches anymore. I just don't. The one above it is the iFlight Camara, and that's a 4-inch. And besides that, everything else is 3-inch and smaller. I'm just micros.
Yeah, I told my son, I like the micros so much.
Mm-hmm.
And the little Mobula 7, I'll say it, and I'll say it without fear of contradiction or shame.
Uh-huh.
That little Mobula 7 is faster than any 250 racer I built way back in the beginning. Our yard is from property line to property line is a little bit more than a football field, and that thing went from our back fence to the street so fast. I had to concentrate hard to keep it from going out into the road. Not that there was any traffic or it had shot into my neighbor's tree line. It was out and back and gone.
Mm.
And
yep.
We just laughed. And then we flew 3, 4, 5 battery packs through it.
Yeah. The very first race I went to, I flew the Diatone 349 Rabbit. You might remember it. Or if you go back and you watch some videos, 3-inch, it would GPS clock around 115 miles an hour. So it was a fast little quad.
Oh, wow.
And the first multi-GP race I went to, I flew it, and it was a 3-inch, and I was beating people that were flying 5-inch 6S. But I upgraded because, people told me and that it was better. And I built 3 identical 5-inch race quads, and I was flying in my front yard with a puck timer, immersion RC puck timer, and I clip a gate, and I'm sitting about 30 feet down from that gate, and the quad spins, and it hits me right here in the shoulder, and it's like a mule kicked me. I have a short video way back on my channel about it, and if that, of course I had goggles on, but if that thing would have hit me and I was recovering from a head injury at that time, if that thing would have hit me in the head. And so that got me looking into micros, and I bought this. It's a Racer X. That's a 3-inch. It's not a 5-inch. That's a 3-inch Beta FPV Racer X. And this, flying the same course on a 5-inch 5S heavy quad, I was knocking around at a 1.5 to 2 seconds off of each lap with this 3-inch. And it's light, and it can cut you with the 3-inch props, but it's nothing like the whole thing with the battery and everything don't weigh as much as a 4S battery. So this is what got me into racing micros, and I was beating my own times, much less, against noobs, because At our age, if you go to a race, we're there for fun. You're not going to compete against that 16-year-old who's been gaming and all this kind of stuff. They're just on a different level. Evan Turner, I've flown with him, and Alex Campbell. I've been to Alex's house a couple times, and they're on a totally different level. I can't think. I'll watch them in my goggles. It make me nauseous. I can't think as fast as they're flying. But I love micros. Matter of fact, I have a vinyl siding on the outside of my house, and I've flown that particular Racer X, crashed it and hit the vinyl siding several times, and it don't do anything but make a noise. You do that with a 5-inch, you're probably gonna break it.
Oh, I remember crashing those 250s around the house, and it was awful. Like it would tear something up. I can't think of how many times I'd skim something or hit something that shouldn't have. I had a carport over camper, and I mean it damaged the frame irreparably when I hit the leg on it. But it did a fair amount of damage to the leg on the carport. I mean, that was 10 gauge galvanized steel, and it still took a plug out of it.
Yeah. Well, you take a normal. This is not a 4S, but this is about the size of an average 4S battery. This is a 3S. This is about half the size and half the weight of a brick. And if you're flying that 115 miles an hour, that's faster than a major league pitcher can throw a baseball. So imagine a major league pitcher throwing half of a brick at you, and if it was to hit you, it'd kill you. And
I remember, I think my lightest one, the first one I built was built very much like a traditional airplane. No servos, of course, but all the ESCs had a servo plug, a 3-wire servo plug, and the arms are stuck way out. And as you move along, you start to realize, well, I don't need all of these wires. I just need the signal wires, so I can do that. Right. I can stack these things up, and I don't need this case on this flight controller. I can take it out of this plastic box. And after I did everything I could think of to get the weight down, I think with a battery on it, the lightest one I had was just shy of 400 grams.
Yeah. What were you flying Spectrum?
3S battery on it. Yeah, I was flying Spectrum at the time. And then an old DX 5E. Didn't even have a screen on it.
Yeah.
You just had to.
I got one on the wall.
All you had was a receiver. Yeah, I mean, you had a bind button and a receiver, and that's what you had. That thing, that's the one that knocked a dent in the pole, because it was still that was a lot of weight, and it was going pretty fast. My wife, I think, and my family was happier when I got into the micros. At least they just exploded. Yep, there you go, the bind plug.
I ain't used this in 3 years, but it's still in my tray.
Yeah, you still got it right there in front of you. You'll know where it is for the rest of your life. You don't ever use your bind plug.
But the minute I put it somewhere else, that's when I'm going to need it. So,
yeah, because it looks like you still fly airplanes.
I do. I'll fly about whatever. I got a couple little E-flight helicopters, but to me, there's just I love flying biplanes and stuff. Biplanes are my favorite. The Pitts is one of my favorite airplanes, but you just can't beat FPV. That's one of the things that BJ likes up there is to just get up and fly above the trees. On my channel, if you subscribe, you'll see Rise Up with FPV. And there's a lot of times where I'll just go out, and it helped me through my head injury. I just get out, put those goggles on, and fly up over, sometimes through the middle of the trees, just through the branches and all of that, and just get away from all the noise and the junk that we find ourselves in.
It's a neat thing to do. It's a neat way to look at. I remember when I first started doing it, and then I set up a horrible second set of, I called them my passenger goggles, but it was basically a backup camera monitor in a styrofoam box with an old Fresnel lens I had laying around. But somebody could sit with me and watch it. I remember hearing the people the first time, and you'd hear them gasp because they thought I was going to hit something or you'd do a flip or roll. I had one person almost kind of rock out of their chair because I would go up into a climb and they'd lean back and they'd almost tip their chair over. You hear people around going, nope, nope, nope.
Yep. I was at a park in Gallatin, and I have the EV 800Ds, those black ones, Randy, that I let you wear sometimes.
Yeah.
They're box goggles. And I was at Triple Creek Park in Gallatin with Scott. That's who I thought you was. Scott was, I forget his last name. He's a friend of mine. He'll probably watch this later. In Gallatin. I'd met him and he had just left. We'd got done and he'd left, and there was a couple of younger men playing frisbee golf, and they wanted to see what it was like. And this kid was about 19 years old. Of course, I'm glad it was out in the grass and the frisbee. He put the goggles on, and I'm flying. I had my goggles on, and he's standing there by the tree. And the next thing I hear, oof, and I whip the quad around so I can see what it is, and he's on the ground. he fell down. And so from then on, I tell people you need to sit down, because one, if you're, and that's what I tell Randy and I think BJ and them have seen it enough. If you're flying, then you know when you're going to turn. But if you're riding, if you're riding and you're doing a ride along, I don't normally. There's some people, when they put people in ride along goggles, they get real acrobatic. I don't try to do that because it's kind of like riding a roller coaster without a track. You don't know which way it's going to go. And see, when you're flying it, hey, I'm going to turn right and go by that tree. Now I'm going to go up over the tree. But the person riding, you're not telling them what you're going to do. So they're just like reacting to everything that you're doing. And if you're not careful, you'll make people sick and you'll put people off by sticking.
You'll induce vertigo quickly. Yeah. The first ride along needs to be gentle flight.
Yep. And there's so many, I've seen so many people that they think it's funny. Ken Herron, I wouldn't classify Ken a friend, but I've met with him and flown with him a few times, and that's one of his things. He got a lot more subscribers than I do, so it must be working for him. But he likes to put people in the goggles and then right off the bat go just straight up. And I've seen several people that go just like, oh, I don't want nothing to do with that. It makes me sick. So I'd much rather just take them up gently and slow. And, then if they're like, this is cool, this, I'm digging this, you'll tell real quick if they're getting sick with it. Then you can start doing the flippity floppities. So, yeah. So you said you got a son and a grandson that fly too?
Yeah, my son is 30 something. He's 31, and then his first son is 10. And my son was the one that came to me. He found those test flight guys on YouTube, and he wanted to try making one of those airplanes because he knew I'd always been interested in radio controlled flight. And then we ended up with a little toy drone. I can't even remember what it was. It was a little bit.
I think your mic's cutting in and out.
Like a bug. Oh, I'm sorry. My battery might be going dead. But I got into it more than he did, just as he's younger and newly married and starting a family, and I was grown. But I got way off into it a little bit, and he got into it a bit, and then he faded out, and then I don't know what got my grandson on it. Speaking of grandsons, that's somebody's.
That's Bobby.
I don't know what got my grandson talking about it, but Stephen came to me and said, Scotty's wanting to learn to fly. And this is what I'm thinking about getting him. And I said, well, let's all get one.
Hi.
And then we swore we weren't going to go down the rabbit hole again. And then here I sit, having tea with the Hatter because we've gone down the rabbit hole again.
That's it. I guess that makes me the Hatter.
Well, there you go. There you go. But no, like I said, we were just curious if there was anybody else in the local area to fly with. If you're in Hendersonville, that's not horribly far from where I'm at. I'm close to Clarksville. I'm just outside of Ashland City.
Okay, yeah. What's in between us, Randy? Lebanon?
No. Let me think. Probably would be Greenbrier.
Okay.
Are you talking about in between you and I?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Randy,
Greenbrier Ridgetop.
Yeah.
Forgive me, Randy. Randy's a drug dealer.
Thank you.
Oh.
No. He's a traffic
Pharmacist?
He actually works for a pharmacy, and he delivers stat medications and stuff like that to hospitals and places.
Oh, okay.
So he drives all over. He drives all over the place, and so he knows the roads very good. He retired from Nissan. He worked there for 161 years. And let me pause on the drones for a minute and let Bobby tell us about that train he's got right there.
Tell him about your train.
This is Thomas the train.
Hey, tell him the train joke.
What do you call a train that sneezes? A choo train.
A chewed train.
That's what you call a train that sneezes.
A choo train.
Oh, you know what you call a train that's got to go to the bathroom?
What?
A doo-doo dang.
He ain't right.
What else have you got? I know you got a monster truck.
Yeah, but I don't know where it is.
You don't know where it is? You need a drone, Elias. Why don't you have... Oh, I called you Elias. Bobby, why don't you have a drone? You need to look at Pa. Come here real quick, Bobby. You need to look at Pa and say, Pa, real sad, say, Pa, teach me how to fly.
Tell him. Put your lip out. Put your pouty lip out.
There you go. Now say, Pa, teach me how to fly. Yep. Guess what? There's just somebody else in the rabbit hole now.
You can teach me how to fly.
Oh, what a ham. What a ham. Yes, we will teach you how to fly, Bobby.
What's that other joke that Pa taught you? What's that other joke that you taught me?
Yeah, I know.
What kind?
What?
Yeah, why do cows wear? That's what it is.
Why does
cows wear?
Why does cows wear bells? Because their horns doesn't work.
Hey, have I told you how do you catch a very unique rabbit?
How?
You have to unique up on it. No, you unique up on it. That's it. Unique up on it. This is bad, isn't it?
It's funny. The one he gets that he laughs at are the ones he remembers.
Yeah. I'm gonna grab a water. Give me just a second. Oh, I think you got to see my Superman pajama pants there, didn't you?
Just for a brief second.
Mm-hmm. You're like, nobody was looking.
So when y'all are going to have a get together or something to fly, do you put something on that Facebook group?
I'll put it on Soki, and I can put it on that. I'm new to that, to the Middle Tennessee group. I'm not big on Facebook personally.
I'm not either. Yeah.
So I'm not promoting things. There's a young man in our church. He was doing a lot more of that with me. He drives for UPS, but I'll have it all. We'll see you, Christy. Y'all have a good night. Thank you for coming on. You're muted, so
All right.
we'll
See you
see y'all.
later.
All right. So it'll be on I'll put it on my page. It'll either be the post on my page, kind of like that poll that I just did. But yeah,
Okay.
If you'll well, I'll tell you. I'm not gonna put it in text, but I'll just tell you audio. My email is Pastor Marty. My first name is Marty at Nancy Charlie Tom Charlie nctc.com. That's my main email, and you do that. If you email that, I'll be watching that Pastor Marty. This right here, I watch it, but it is not my main email, so it might be that right there. It might be 3 or 4 days before I check it. But either one of those, if you'll drop me a message there, I'll actually send you my text. I'll actually send you my phone number text with me. That's the best way to get in touch with me.
Okay, cool.
Because I do this and I do live streams, and I do Zoom conferences. And when I'm on a Zoom conference with other pastors or people, I mute my phone. So phone calls and stuff are not the best way to get into. Text is the best way to get in touch with me because I can answer it when I'm available. And like I said, to the 18th, I'm locked down, but after the 18th, I'll be good. And I'm actually looking.
It'll be a bit before. It would at least be a few weeks. It's winter time, but that's the thing. Whoops, flying indoors. But we're not doing what you're doing for the reasons you're doing it by any means. But we are kind of laying low to the house and staying away from crowds because in a week or so we're going to be traveling for a bit, and we won't be back till right at Christmas, and then it'll be the first of the year after that. Then after that, my grandson will have his new stuff, and like I said, my son and I it'd be neat to find a group of people to fly with. I mean, Andersonville is not far. That's that's not a long ride for us at all. So if you were having an event or something like that, you mentioned things like we'd probably love to come.
Yeah, Randy, how far is the church from Clarksville? Probably about an hour and a half.
Probably.
Yeah.
Well, I'm more in Ashland City. So you'd probably be about an hour.
Are you familiar with Springfield?
Yes, very much so.
If you could go from Cheatham to Springfield, and then you can catch, I think it's 41A, I think, from Springfield into Gallatin. And now we're north of Gallatin. Probably.
I meet people all the time in Gallatin that fly at Triple Creek Park. So, but also if your son, and we're over an hour and a half into this. Time flies when you're having fun. If your son and your grandson have a YouTube account, tell them to be watching my channel, because when we get, within 1 or 2 subs of 200, I'm going to give away a tiny whoop that's set up, tuned, and I'm even thinking about throwing in a little radio with it. So it's bound. All you got to do is have a set of goggles. It's set up, ready to go. And I'm all about, if you've been in the hobby of airplanes and stuff for a while, you know that for some people, this hobby is as much about getting together with people as it is flying. And that's how it is for me. That's how it is for me. The Lord has blessed me with enough quads. I buy people's broke stuff from RC groups, and I'll watch for people that stay getting out of the hobby, and I'll message them and say, hey, what do you got that's broke? It won't work. And every one of these planes you see hang, except for the pits right there, except for that one, every one of these planes that are hanging up here are somebody's crashes that they couldn't get to fly, and I brought them, put them on my bench here, fixed them up, got them flying, and that's
awesome.
And I'll sell them and trade them and do stuff like that in order to buy more parts. But Randy can tell you the last race that we was at, there was a young man who come from Indiana. His father,
wow.
brought from Indiana, and I had a quad very similar to this one, but a little bit bigger. Oops, hit my camera there. Very similar to this one, and he was enamored with it. I'd say he was what, 13, 14, Randy?
Probably,
Maybe?
yeah.
And he was like, "Where'd you get that?" And all. Oh, of course, I built it, and I just said, "Take it, it's yours." And I'll do that sometime. Just not, and I'm not saying that to toot my own horn at all. You'll learn that about me. I'd rather see little Bobby that you saw on there. If he come to me and was learning how to fly, I'd set him up with everything. I'd give him a drone. Matter of fact, his grandpa, I set him up with a little tiny whoop and everything. So it's all about sharing the hobby for me. And, if your son and your grandson subscribe, just on like one of my recent videos, just tell them that you're this is Scott, our Papa. What's it? Papa Shop. That's what
Pop
you show
Shop. My
Pop.
son called me Pop, and then so my grandson called me Pop. And then one year for Christmas, they got me a sign that goes out over my little workshop in the back that says Pop Shop. So when they decided I needed a YouTube, they called it Pop Shop.
Well, tell them if they leave a message or anything to just say Pop Shop son or whatever, so I'll know that how y'all are linked and all of that. And I look forward. I do. I legitimately look forward to trying to meet up with you guys and helping.
I do too.
And part of the hobby. I mean, everybody's like, "What if I crash it?" I'm like, "You're gonna crash. That's what we do. You fly.
That's why we have soldering irons.
You break it, you fix it, and you do it all over again.
You fly it all over again. That's exactly right.
That's why I'm sitting here with 17 days, which for me as a pastor, not leaving the house for 17 days is a lot, but I've got enough. I'm gonna build stuff. I'm gonna fix stuff. I'm gonna keep busy, and just get ready, Randy. When I come out of this 18 days, I'm gonna be ready to fly some stuff. So,
I like to fly on them planes. Learned it. They just something about it. I mean, I like the tiny whoops and stuff, but something about those planes. At one time, I even wanted to learn to fly helicopters, the big ones, but would like to get to where I could handle one of them planes a little bit.
Oh well, I keep saying I'm going to show you. I've got one that it's like a glider. It's the
you flew that day we was over at the pavilion, I believe.
Yeah, it's an E-Flight Radian that I put an AIO camera on it, and you can throw some goggles on it and you can fly it. It's actually on my channel. It's a video called Easy Like Sunday Morning, I think, or maybe that's the song that's on it. It's one of the airplane videos on my channel. It's got that on it, and all that is just a ready to fly 3-channel glider with a little FPV camera velcroed up on the top of it. So and you can't. I mean,
gentlemen, my phone battery is going dead here, so I'm going to excuse myself from the conversation.
All right.
But it's been very nice to sit and chat with y'all this evening.
Yes.
And I really do look forward to talking to you some more.
All right. Nice to meet you.
Thank y'all very much.
Take care.
Nice to meet y'all. Have a good night.
Good night.
Yeah. All right. Well, It's an hour and 45. Do you have anything you wanted to mention or talk about, Randy? See my
No.
Pac-Man up here? Ugh, it's all backwards when I'm pointing.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
Pac-Man.
Okay.
That was Amazon. I got that off of Amazon. But yeah. Well,
I think it went well. I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. And
yeah. Yeah, it's fun. I'm having a little bit of trouble with this other camera, and I need to find out what the deal with it is, and why it's not wanting to stay on my bench camera. But hey, so busy with chat and new people tonight that I didn't have time to for really very much bench stuff, which is good.
that's good. Yes.
If you're watching this, you're welcome. Any subscriber, any member of Lost Quad, the Middle Tennessee multi-rotor Soki, and Music City multi-rotor, love to have you join. I do this on Thursday nights at 7 o'clock. There's a link that I post at the beginning of every one of these that you can click on it and you can join just like Scott did, just like Randy did. It was Randy's first night on here, and you can join and be a part of the conversation. Just listen in and ask some questions and learn. And we're going to close out tonight. And I want to thank you for watching. If you would, hit that thumbs up button if you're watching afterwards. And remember to comment down below. If you're a subscriber, go to that poll and answer that question for me. I'm interested to see what people's thoughts on that are. And thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And as always, keep flying and rise up and meet me in the air. And I'm going to close out with my outro. Big shout out to Rick for having this made for me, from a guy that's currently living in the Ukraine. Made the intro and the outro for me. So here it is.